Hi everyone, it's Judy. Welcome back to Rose Lane. I promised a few ladies that I would try to do a slightly better video on the new hidden tag page, which was this one. Several people thought it was pretty complicated, and if you're good at math, it's probably not that complicated. If you're good at doing things by eye, it's probably not that complicated. But I'm going to show you not the way I did it, because I was working it out as I went along, but how I sort of rethought it to hopefully try to make it a little bit easier. I'm not going to use any like fancy paper. I was going to, but I decided that for the sake of just the demonstration, I was just going to use some contrasting paper so you could see a little bit better. Put that back there, what I've done. So I did pre-measure things out because I just think it's a little bit easier. So not much, but a little bit. So I have a piece of copy paper here. I do have a pencil line down the center, hopefully for your benefit, if you can see it, certainly for mine at this point. I have this piece of paper that is a contrasting piece of paper, and I measured out where the pockets go, okay? So what I did was I took, I'm in frame here. I'm hoping this doesn't set off because it's got like nothing to focus on. I measured 3.5 inches this way, 3.5 inches this way, and I did the same thing up here, 3.5 and 3.5. And then that left me with this chunk in the middle. So essentially all I did was I measured across, and I have one of these really neat rulers with the lines. So you just line up, I line up one of the heavier lines, of course, along my pencil line, and then come over here to where the other pencil line is and take roughly about half of that, give or take, okay? As close as possible. It'd be nice if it worked out perfectly, but it probably won't. So that's all I did on the one side, okay? And then on the other side, I did the same thing, 3.5, 3.5, 3.5, 3.5, measured halfway across. But you have to do it opposite. So for me, the better way for me to do it is on the front of the paper. So if this is the paper I was going to use, which is from Artie Mays. If I do it on the back, I confuse myself. The paper fits, I cut it, and then when I try to put it back on the page, no matter how many ways I turn it like a puzzle piece, I can't make it fit. So I found that it's just easier to do it straight on. It's just a pencil mark. If it shows, it can be erased. So I'm not too worried about that. So anyway, that's what I did here. The other thing I thought that would be good for those of you who may have watched the video on when I was putting that piece together, I kept gluing the pockets in the wrong places. I kept forgetting and putting now in my defense, that could be the medication that I'm on right now. And that's my story. I'm going to stick to that. But I kept gluing things closed. I kept doing things wrong. So what I did was, this is the way this piece of paper is going to go on this side. So on the back side, I just drew lines where I'm going to glue. So when I cut this, okay, when I cut it, it's going to be glued in the proper places. The only difference is that this one is going to be glued down. Okay, and this one's going to be glued down because that does not create a pocket. So if you flip that over on the back and you put an X here, and you flip this over on the back and you put an X there, this is the pocket, this is the pocket, this is the pocket. The one with the X, that's going to get glued down. Okay? So anywhere there's a pencil mark on the back, that gets glue. That's what I'm hoping will work. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut this apart, and I will show you then. I'm not too worried about regular tags, the ones that you did see in the pockets, because people were probably looking at it going, she's saying hidden cards, hidden journaling cards, but I see the cards, I see the tags. Well, you saw those, but you didn't see the ones that were camouflaged. So I'm just going along the edge here. And when you do this with the pattern paper, of course, you're just cutting where the pattern is. You'll match it back up when just make sure that it is recording. Yes. You'll match it back up, which makes it easy, you know, to line up where the pattern is. You'll know if the flowers are off, that you've got something in the wrong place. You'll also know that it doesn't, because it doesn't fit on the page. Okay, so we're going to take this one. This is our right-hand page. Okay, so the first one I'm going to do is this one. And we can see, and actually this is, because this is all going to get glued down. And I'm going to use my, whatever this is. The thing I always call wrong, the 3-in-1 Fabri-Tac. I'm just going to use this because it is easier for me anymore. I've always did like it because it gives you that minute to like reposition if it's not quite right, or glued something where it didn't belong, like I did the other night. Oh, and that's something else I did want to show you, what I did. Because I cut the center out of here, and in all honesty, this is pure genius. This is just absolute genius. Let me get another piece of paper here. I'm trying to find something else that I have that may be a different color right here, but I don't have one that's a different color. So let's go with, you know what? I'll go with one of these. This is, I think this is one of my pink, red food coloring and tea. My solution to how long it takes to do avocado dyeing. Avocados are expensive. I don't eat them, and it takes forever to do avocado dye paper. I know it's all natural and all that jazz, but I just do tea and food coloring, and I get something that I'm happy with. So this is, I learned this, and again, I did not fold this correctly. I learned this on a video the other day, as a matter of fact, from Yvonne Preston. And when she cuts her paper in half, generally, and this worked for me for this, she folds it in half, okay? Fold it in half, take the folded edge, line up your ruler with just a sliver, however much of a sliver you want to take off. I just want a sliver. You take that off right there, perfectly straight, 2 even pieces of paper. Pure genius. I don't know why I never thought of it, but pure genius. That is just perfect. And for me, it works with the piece that we're doing tonight, because I wanted to make sure that I got everything lined up right, and I didn't want it overlapping. You know, having the pieces ended up overlapping and, you know, in the middle and causing it to look messy. So this piece gets glued down, okay? Now we're going to come to the next one, and here's where we have to start figuring out how it goes. Okay, so this is the next piece, and you're going to butt it right up against the piece above it, okay, right up against it, and then you're going to flip it over, and oh my goodness, look where we glue. If I'm wrong, which I don't think I am, because we need to keep this top open, so that you can get that hidden journaling card in. So no glue goes on that spot. So we just glue here. And the cards are going to go full length of the page. At least I made mine full length of the page. So they just kind of, you know, layer on top of each other, more or less. Okay, so that one goes there. I'm going to line this one up here. And you can leave a slight hair of a space if you want. I'm doing this with just copy paper. Whoops. There's my little wipe. Like I said, just to demonstrate. A little off. Woo! Okay. All right. Not too bad. Not too bad. All right, next one. So when I do this, I would back my copy paper. I backed it onto just another piece of copy paper because I knew I was going to layer tags, that there'd be 3 tags in these pockets and then 3 more tags or journaling cards on top of that. So I was trying to keep it so that, bring it over here, so that when you closed it, it didn't get too, see, I overlap my papers, which is why I wanted to be careful with that. But it didn't get real fat. Okay? If you use a lot of card, it starts to get a little fatter. And whoops, oh, I didn't glue it down, so I'm okay. Yes, so let's make sure that goes there, that goes there, that goes there. Yep, the lines are working. So we glue on this line, and this line. So now I can't glue my pockets shut like I was doing yesterday. Not only gluing them shut, I was gluing them flat. I was gluing them down to the paper. So that wasn't working. Okay, so that one's going to go there. Just give that a second to sit. There we are. Okay. So when you do, oh my goodness, now that's going to have to be opened. When you do this with, you know, a little bit more thickness of paper, it's easier, of course, to get your cards in and out of the pockets than it will be for this. But I'm just going to show you by sliding another piece of paper in, you know, into the spot. I'm going to, before I do this, I want to, because I slid that, I want to make sure that it's not too far over. Okay. And I had another piece. I did. Oh, on the floor. On the floor. Okay. And then this gets glued on these lines. So this is a tremendous help to me because, again, when I flip things over, you know, everybody says hold it in the spot where you don't want to glue, but sometimes, like in this case, odd places are getting glued. So, and, you know, some places where you think it ought to be glued, you know, kind of, because that's what you do. In this case, they weren't getting glued, so I just kept gluing them shut. It's like, that's wrong. Okay, so this is the one side. So imagine that's a pattern piece of paper when we've lined up the pattern, which you saw when I took out all the, that's not going to cut it, when I took out all the tags and then showed in that little video, the little short one that was up on the Facebook groups. That one's just probably a little off. It looks, you know, just plain, which is why I didn't ink the edges of these pockets. I mean, you can if you want to. I just didn't want, I wanted when all the tags were out, I just wanted it to look like a flat piece of paper, you know, just a regular paper like you would have put in for a page, and not that it had been cut apart. So that was my plan. Okay, so this is the top, and that one's going to go here. Okay, it's the top, I know, because there's an X. Let me get these guys out from underneath here. So this can be done with any size paper. It doesn't matter if it's A4. It doesn't matter if it's, you know, standard size, the 8.5 by 11 for the US. It doesn't matter if you're doing, sometimes, you know, you get the, some of the kits and the pages are actually 5 by 7, you know, or 4 by 6. Sometimes you want to shrink it down and do a smaller book. For whatever the reasons are, and you want to, in which case, of course, you'd be doing a whole lot smaller tags in here. Okay, so we're going to do this. Now I'm making the assumption that I've got this in the right place. It may end up needing to be trimmed out here if I've, excuse me, if I've pulled it too far over. So anyway, I cut this just a little off, but again, you're not going to really notice that. So, is that the one? That is the one. Okay, so glue here. I don't know about you, but this helps me keep my line straight. I watch people, there's several people, but the one that pops to mind for videos that I do watch is Gail Augustinelli. I have never seen anybody with a more steady hand. I mean, I hold a piece of paper and you can see I'm holding it because it kind of jiggles and it moves. She holds a piece of paper and you think you're looking at a still photograph. Her hands are so steady. It's just amazing. Yeah, I'm a little far down on here because of where I put it and how I cut it. But that's all right. For this, it'll be fine. I think I've got the right one. Do I have the right one? Maybe I don't have the right one. Let's do this. Let's bring you up. Well, let's see if this one works better. Uh-huh. It does. I just had it in the wrong spot. Okay, so we're gonna... I picked up the wrong one because these middle ones are very similar. It might help to number them, you know, just to put them in order. Which case, I should have known that because this top should have been open. So numbering them might be good, you know, 1 being the one that you glue down, 2, 3, 4, and you just do that on the back as well, just so that you're picking up the right one and not doing what I just did. Pick up the wrong one and wonder why it's not quite fitting. So that's that one. That should have been my tip because this would not have been glued down. Okay. This is now the bottom over here, and then the other side here. Oops. Okay. I'll put this one in there. Bottom, side, side, and then this one gets glued there. Yeah, so I'm going off the paper because of misjudging. Wow, that one's really coming out, isn't it? Doing this, I mean, I don't know how many other projects these lines might work for, but it certainly worked for this. Well, sort of, if I paid any real attention. It really helped me to know where to glue, which was good. So we've got that. Now what I'm going to do is, just for the sake of trying to make it a little bit better, I want to go in here and just sort of open up the pockets a little bit. Just make sure that nothing's glued down. Okay. Oops, get under there. This one I have to be a little more careful because the glue is really still wet. All right. So then this is what you're going to do. And I only brought one piece of paper, and I think for, you know, getting this done as quickly as possible, I figure it's not so bad. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that I'm going to stay inside the pockets. So I'm going to cut, come on, I'm going to cut this. I'm just going to kind of eyeball, you know, I've got a glue line. I want a little space because I don't want it real tight. And when you put on, well, I did the ribbon, so it was easy to leave tails. If you did lace, you might want to cut it a little bit bigger so that it'll come closer to the edge of the pocket. But that's essentially, what did I do with my little guy? Here it is. This is going to be essentially the size of the cards. Okay. So I'm going to do another one here. Okay. I just want to get a quick reference. Okay. So I'm showing you, this is going to be the hidden pieces. Okay, so I have 2 there. Let me get one more just because. Just because. I will eventually use it all someplace. Okay. And if anybody asks what this paper is, it's just plain old copy paper from Staples. That's an office supply place here in the US. I don't know why I do that. I think it's called Orchid. I'm not sure whose paper it was, you know, whose brand it was. If it was Hammermill or Epson or whose it was, I have no idea. But anyway, that's the brand of paper. So we're going to start up here with the top pocket. Like I said, I'm only going to do the one side. We're going to try to get this to go all the way down. Now when I did this, I had put, it was heavier paper, so it's a lot easier to get in once it's together. There we go. It doesn't do this when you've actually got it, you know, all put in the way it's supposed to be. So I'm just checking. All right, I think that's about as far down as it's going to go. So what I'm going to do, I don't want it showing, let's make sure I'm in frame here. I don't want it showing up here at all. So I'm going to put a little mark here that's going to tell me I want to cut across here. And then here, I'm just going to eyeball about this much. That's about 3/8 of an inch, about, something like that. Just a quick little eyeball. Okay. And my ruler. And I'm going to try to get this as straight as I can. And my knife. Here we go. So you stick essentially the, you know, you make it as wide as you're going to want it, and that's consistent with every pocket. And then you just mark what you want to cut away. So like I said, for that top pocket, I didn't want it showing above here, of course. So, and when you use card or something, this will work. Like I said, this will work better. You saw how easy they'll go in and out. So that goes in here. Flimsy, yes, but like I said, it's just copy paper. If I can get it to go down like I had it before. There we go. Okay, so now it's in the pocket. All right, not up to the top. I'm going to get rid of that little piece. I'm going to go to the next pocket. This one's going to go in here. And we're going to line it up. And we're going to say where we want it to go. This one, because it doesn't have this flat part on the, oops, I'm off camera. Because it doesn't have the flat part on the top up here, we don't have to worry. All we're doing is just go, and you can go even to 1/2 inch if you want. I'm doing it about 3/8. And I would recommend that you don't just glue whatever trim. If you're going to use lace, I happen to use the seam binding, and I just squinched it up. I put down a bit of Uhu and squinched it up, and then once it was dry, I went back and I sewed it, you know, sewed it down. So this piece then goes in here like so. I should have done it in cardstock. It would have been just sliding in a whole lot easier. Okay, too flimsy for that. And then this one, this is easy enough. This one goes in here. Get rid of that. And a quick eyeball at about 3/8 of an inch. Okay. And then go here, like that. And this one goes in here, like that. And then you can do exactly, because I left mine blank. I left all my cards just the cream colored cardstock because I wanted to be able to journal on both sides. I just put a little cutout, you know, a little fussy cut on each one, a flower or a leaf or a bird or whatever I did, just to make it look a little bit like something, inked around the edges, but left both sides plain. So when you cut them, whatever you cut, I'm going to start with this one because I think it'll make it easier to get them in. Just cut 2. So you're going to cut 2 of these, 2 of these, and 2 of these, because then all you do is just flip it over to the other side. And don't do it with copy paper because I can't get it down. All right, there we go. Okay, so then you have the same thing, and then all you have to do is just take your, and I'm causing an avalanche because I happen to have a piece of ribbon right here. Oh, that's because it's attached to the cover. But I just took a piece, you know, put the glue along the edge. I just take it and I squish it like this along here. And then when it was dry, I just went down and stitched it. Obviously not in here. I took it out, stitched it to the end. And I think stitching is better because you're going to be pulling on it. And even with the Fabri-Tac, which would show through this, and even with Fabri-Tac on lace, I think constantly pulling at that with not really grabbing much of the card would probably be a little bit more of an issue for you. So I'm just putting that there, even though it doesn't match. This was not an exciting video as far as a visual was concerned. Hopefully it came out clear enough that you could see with just these plain papers. I'm hoping the quality will be all right. So that's it for now, guys. I'm going to try to make this look prettier. I don't know how. Here, we'll bring this down and cover it up with Christmas. How's that look? It's a lie. It's all a lie. This is probably going to go into another journal anyhow, so one of my Christmas journals. So in any case, if I use this as a picture, it's only for interest's sake. It's not going to be what the video looks like, as you can tell. So that's it for now, guys. Hopefully I'll get another video up for Wednesday on some more ephemera pieces that I have sitting here and have lined up and ready to go. Some not so complicated this time. In any case, that's it for now. So in the meantime, guys, be safe, be happy, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.